the average person hears like censorship or something, they think about like China and like the Great Firewall of China, how the Chinese people can't search for certain things on the internet or even access certain things on the internet. And they don't realize that it's literally happening elsewhere in the world. Like it's literally happening in like the UK right now. It's wild to watch it happen. It's moving very fast. I think Gigi said this recently, and I have similar thoughts on it too, is that the internet is like diverging in two separate ways. We have like the KYC, permissioned, censored internet over here, and then we have this small divergent, like open and free, permissionless internet that's starting to emerge and gain traction.
Tell me about a time you felt like you said too much.
Oh man, maybe just right now.
All views expressed by the host or guests are solely their own opinions. Nothing stated in this podcast should be considered a specific endorsement to make any particular investment or follow any specific strategy.
Welcome to All in Bitcoin, Derek. Everyone interviews you about Nostr. I want to talk about what Nostr has done to you. So let's start with my 21 takes, and we'll take it from there.
Okay, thank you
Ready?
for having me. Yes, I'm ready.
What's a myth about Nostr you wish would die?
People immediately say that Nostr is really technical and really hard to use. While maybe that was the case maybe 2 years ago, it's gotten a lot better. It really has. And I think that people will realize that, it's not as technical. Finding content is a little bit easier. Finding users is a little bit easier. Now, that doesn't mean there isn't a lot of work to do. There's still tons of work to do. But I think that applications have really improved over the past 2 years. So people, if they were turned off 2 years ago because it was, too technical or too hard to grasp, I think they should try it again.
I'm not a tech person, and I don't see the difference between X, Damos, Iris, Primal. I really don't see it.
What confuses people is the fact that people are used to usernames and passwords. They're used to this legacy thing that we've done since forever. And as soon as you take that away and you add something that is long and complicated, like a private key or a public key, people just get confused and they kind of gloss over. Their eyes, are like, oh, what is this? And that's okay. But they don't need to understand the technical reasons for it. They just need to understand that it exists.
So tell me, do you think Satoshi is building on Nostr?
I think that we're all building on Nostr. Is Satoshi alive? And I hope so. And I hope that he or she, them, whoever Satoshi is, I hope they're using Nostr in an anonymous way, watching us all zap and send Bitcoin around to each other. That would be, because that would be amazing to me, because on Nostr, we're actually using Bitcoin as a cash system. Like we're using it as eCash, and we do with nut zaps and everything. But I think that it's the largest deployment of a Bitcoin circular economy in the world. So I think that Satoshi would be very proud to see what we're doing on Nostr.
A misconception about you that you would like to clear up?
Oh man, this is great.
Okay.
Yeah,
The floor is yours.
I am not Nostr's CEO. This is a funny joke that started, oh man, like 2.5 years ago. I'm very active on Nostr. I'm helping a lot of people out, explaining what it is, how it works. And this one guy had a complaint, and he was just complaining. And I responded. I'm a helpful guy. I respond, and he responds again with like a kind of like a mean tone about something not working. And then one of my friends responded to him saying, "Sir, do you know who you're talking to? This is Nostr's CEO right here." And the guy's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And then from there, that just one-off joke turned into a meme. And people say this all of the time. And I get it. It's funny. Kind of like there is no Bitcoin CEO. There is no Nostr CEO. But I'm very active on Nostr. People see my face. I go around to a lot of conferences talking about Nostr. I do a lot of onboarding. I do a lot of growth. I do a lot of education. So I get it. Like I'm a well-known face. And I guess that has to be somebody in the early days. So I accept the meme. I like the meme. It's funny. But sometimes some people, I don't know. I don't want people to think bad about me for it. Like there is no Nostr, ruler. There is no Nostr CEO. So
how come there is no Nostr
well, because
CEO?
it's a protocol, right? So nobody owns it. There's no centralized, corporation, entity, anybody that owns it, and anybody can build on Nostr. So the fact that you say that there's a Nostr CEO kind of is a fallacy. It's not true. But that's in line with the joke, and that's in line with the meme. Is sure you can say Derek is the CEO, but there literally is no CEO. We're all the CEO. Like we can all do whatever and say whatever we want on Nostr. So I play into that meme and I laugh about it. But people like to have fun, and I don't mind it.
Is Nostr your only window to the outside world?
I deleted all of my other socials a couple years ago. I hadn't been on Facebook in years, didn't really use it. I was really big and active on Twitter. Instagram I used, LinkedIn I used. But once I went all in on Nostr, I realized that why was I keeping these other platforms around? Why was I still every once in a while checking out Twitter? Like if I really believed in everything that I was saying and telling people and educating people on, then why was I still there? So I deleted everything else. I deleted them all. I don't use them. I don't know what's going on. A funny example on the personal side is I had a family reunion recently and I had found out some things that were going on with cousins of mine, and they were like, "Oh, you didn't know this?" And I said, "No, I don't use Facebook. I don't know. I'm so sorry." But I don't pay attention to anything else but Nostr. I get my news a lot of the time from Nostr. Like I'm all in. Like I try to be as all in as possible.
Do you miss it?
So I would say no. Maybe at first I did, but not anymore. Like I don't. I have relationships and friendships that I've built on Nostr, so I interact with my friends on Nostr. I get news and the content that I want on Nostr, and I don't. I think that if something is important enough, like in my real life or my family life, that I'll find out about it. Somebody will call me, somebody will text me, somebody will tell me in person, and then everything else, it just comes to me through Nostr. Or I've maybe taught myself that I don't care about the noise, right? I don't care about the other content. If it doesn't affect me personally, or if I'm not looking for it, then I shouldn't care about it.
What's something you had to unlearn in life other than that?
I would say that differences in opinions and different thoughts is kind of how we grow as humans. And maybe through legacy social media, we kind of learn that we're kind of we're pitted against each other in like legacy social media, where your opinion is maybe the good opinion and this person's opinion is the bad opinion, and we're kind of put against one another on legacy social media. And after doing that for years, you kind of maybe start thinking that way a little bit, that I'm right and you're wrong and you're bad because you're wrong. And after a while, I kind of looked back and reflected on that and realized that that's probably not the way. The differences of opinions aren't really right and wrong. It's just what that is just different thoughts, different ideas. And the more ideas and more opinions and more thoughts that we have, it's how we can grow. Someone's opinion being different from yours isn't bad. It just means they have a different thought. And that's okay. And we can take that and then learn to understand that person. We can even form good relationships and bonds with other people once we understand where they're coming from. And I think that I think the world would be a better place if a lot of people kind of realize that we don't all fit in the same box, and that's completely okay. That my box is awesome and your box is awesome, and that our boxes can hang out together, and it's perfectly fine. And I think once I realized that a few years ago, that I became much more kind of zen on things and just realize that life is good and we shouldn't be arguing and fighting over things that all honestly really don't matter in the grand scheme of things.
So a moment where being visible came at a cost.
I don't know off the top of my head, but I will say just this morning at breakfast, I was having a conversation about this where an individual I was eating breakfast with was telling me that he's anonymous and was talking to me about being public and visible. And I said that over the past couple of years, I've thought about this numerous times. Like, I use my real name, I use my face, I'm out there. And is that good or bad? And I've had private conversations with people saying, well, maybe if I had to do it all over again, I would remain anonymous like I was years ago. Because anonymity and privacy is very important. And being a public figure has its pluses and minuses. And maybe I don't like the minuses. So I was talking to people and they said, well, Derek, it's good for some people to be out there and be visible, because when people hear about these type of technologies, they hear about Bitcoin, they hear about Nostr, they hear about freedom technology, that a lot of people's thoughts go towards like shadowy super coder, in the shadows people, bad actors. Why do they want to be hidden? And that people need to realize that it's regular people. It's people like you, like me. I'm using it not because I want to stay hidden, because I appreciate and understand the technology. And I'm just a regular person. So I've had multiple people say that they appreciate what I do because I'm stepping out from the shadows and letting other people know that it's okay to use these technologies, that regular people use them, and that I'm kind of doing them a service where I'm visible so other people that want to stay hidden or invisible can. And again, that took me a little bit of time to understand, but I understand it now, and now I feel like that is like a responsibility that I have to help others, and I like helping others, so that's how I sell it to myself.
What's something you believe that most of your peers don't?
Probably in Bitcoin. Like a lot of my friends in my real life that live in my local community, and my family members too, the majority of them don't believe in Bitcoin and don't see it as any type of investment, any type of tool, any type of money, anything that we all say Bitcoin is. They just see it as something that's, I'll say, not real. They don't understand it. They don't want to understand it. They don't think they need it. They think they have retirement through their job and that's good enough. They think, the government will take care of them, whatever. And I try to explain these things to them, and they're happy that I'm happy. They're good friends. Like they know that I'm interested in it. And every once in a while, this friend or family member, they'll say, hey, how's this going for you? They'll ask me about it and I'll talk about it, but they don't want to get involved, or they don't want to buy Bitcoin or study it or anything like that. So I think that's an outlier there, but actually it seems like that's kind of common in our space. We tell how many friends and family about it so many times, and they're like, oh, cool. And then that's it. Like they don't go any further than that.
Why do you think it's so difficult to orange pill or purple pill a family member?
I don't know why. They're all interested, but they're not interested enough to take the next step for whatever reason. And for the purple pill, for Nostr, I'll say that's probably because they're used to maybe all of their friends and all their family and all their interests and all their likes being on their certain social platform. Nostr doesn't have a lot of that. So that's understandable, I guess. But Bitcoin, you don't really have to interact with it. You can just buy it, and then you can do nothing else but buy it. And you can buy small amounts of it too. And especially when some of your friends and family members do have like other investments, like they invest in, the stock market. Why couldn't they invest in Bitcoin and treat it as a stock like a lot of people do? They just, there's a bad taste in people's mouths about it because of what they've heard for years, that criminals use it and it's killing the environment. But I don't know. It's perception. Perception is a hell of a drug. And if it's perceived bad, a lot of people think, oh, it's bad. And they don't want to look into it anymore.
I thought that my people, my family and my friends will get it through osmosis.
Yeah.
It's not happening. But
Very slow osmosis. Yeah.
Very slow one. Yeah. But I also think that they think that it is really difficult. And
it used to be. It's getting better.
For me, what is difficult is the modern monetary system. That's difficult.
Think about it. If you had to know how the current monetary system worked to be able to use it, no one would want to use it because it's so complicated. But at the base layer, you just take cash and give it to somebody, and that just works. And that's all people know. So once Bitcoin, and we're basically there, once Bitcoin becomes so easy that we can just send and receive just as easy as making a credit card payment or making a cash payment, then a lot of the complexity goes away. But there's still complexity with self-custody. And I think that's what scares a lot of people. Like personally, even for family members, I've told them to use Block's BitKey because it's very, very simple multi-sig and it's not overly complicated. So I've recommended that to actually multiple family members and they're using it. And I think that kind of helped demystify a lot of the reasons that people don't want to self-custody, because it's kind of seen as hard, and it can be hard if you want it to be hard, but there are now more simpler, easier solutions with like Block's BitKey. And I think that maybe that'll help people out. At least I'm hoping.
Yeah, definitely. A truth you rarely say out loud.
A truth, like a personal truth. So a lot of times people ask me, where I see myself in a couple of years in regards to like Nostr and in Bitcoin. So I have a full disclosure, personal. I have a fiat job. Like I work a fiat job, and people ask me, would you leave your fiat job and go all in on Bitcoin and Nostr if you truly believe it? People ask me that from time to time, and I don't know. I personally, like, I love my job. I also love my Nostr and Bitcoin job. But I have a family to think about. I have a wife. I have 2 children. And with any career change, that's a risk to take. And maybe if I was younger and my wife and I were newly married or something, I would do it in a heartbeat. But now, I don't know. Things would have to change, but I don't think like tomorrow. Would I do that tomorrow? No. Maybe 6 months from now, maybe a year from now, 2 years from now. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds? We don't know. But I think I'll say my cards aren't dealt yet, and the hand that I have now, where I'm able to maintain my fiat existence and mix in my Bitcoin and Nostr existence. It's a lot of work, but I'm willing to keep doing everything right now. So we'll see where I'm at in the future.
Yeah, maybe you're just waiting for the right opportunity.
Maybe I'm just waiting for the right opportunity. We don't know. We'll see.
So if your community had to sum you up in one word, what would it be?
I guess that goes back to the Nostr CEO joke in the beginning of this interview. People love that meme. They do. And like I said, I kind of embraced it. I realized that it's a joke and it's a meme and people have fun with it. But I also realized that people, I kind of fell into this position 2.5 years ago when I first met you down in Costa Rica. People wanted to hear what I had to say about Nostr, and I fell into this role of, like I said, onboarding and growth and education, and I've become known for that. Like yesterday at the conference, I had Jeff Booth up on stage telling everybody that I was Nostr's greeter and to visit me afterwards, and I would get them all set up. And and I laughed at that. I'm like, I'm like the greeter, and I do greet people. I do. I try to make people feel welcome. So I think the community would. Maybe that's it. Well, instead of Nostr CEO, we'll go with Jeff Booth's saying, and I'm Nostr's greeter. My one word answer is the greeter. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds great. And you are actually. So if someone took over your private keys tomorrow
For Nostr.
yeah, how lost would you be?
I'd be really annoyed. I'd be very angry. Because on Nostr, your private key unlocks your identity. And I've spent the past 2.5 years becoming Nostr's greeter and educator and onboarder and, growth team and all these things we've been talking about. So I would lose all of that web of trust. And I think that our web of trust, our reputations, like they're unlocked by your private key. So I would have to start all over. That would be very annoying. I would say a bunch of words and and then I would start all over because complaining about it isn't going to fix anything. I'm going to be angry for a while, but I think I already did it one time. Proof of work will prevail again, and I'll start all over again, and I'll work hard, and I'll bust my ass, and I'll do it again. Like I truly believe in Nostr, in Bitcoin. So I think that putting the work forward again, it's worth the battle. I'll do it again. I'll hate it in the beginning, but I'll be annoyed, but I'll do it.
Yeah. Tell me about a piece of tech you wish existed.
We have them, but they can be improved upon. I think if we were able to have a better Nostr, like a physical hardware signing device. Now, these do exist, but we need them to be better. We need them to be so seamless that maybe it's my smartwatch or maybe it's a smart ring that I have. Something that enables me to always unlock my private key to sign transactions on the go on my mobile device. Like we have them for I can plug into my computer at home, but we're mobile. We're mobile. We're all the time on the go. Most people, when they're using Nostr, they're using their phone or something. If we had a mobile signing device that allowed people to, keep their keys safe, and if that device got stolen, they wouldn't be able to have their private key being lost. If we had some type of delegation, some type of multi-sig, all these things that we have with Bitcoin, basically. If we had all these things with Nostr, I think in an easy to use, user-friendly, user experience way, I think we would have a better time. Because right now, when we start talking about key management and signing extensions and signing applications, that's too complicated. That gets back to the overly technical case of Nostr. But we want people to be secure with their keys. So I think we need a better hardware solution to allow people to still manage their keys, but also have it be so easy that the average non-technical person can use it. And we'll get there eventually. I think we have people working on that right now.
Can I ask, what's so complicated about keeping your private key? Because I opened my Damos, I think my first client was Damos and then Iris. Well, for Iris, Marty did it directly.
Yeah.
But for Damos, I did it myself. And it's just like, it is a bunch of digits and that's it. You just put it there and you make sure that you don't take photos, you don't keep it on, on the cloud or whatever. And that's it.
Yeah. So Nostr's more than just one app. Nostr is a large ecosystem of applications and by design, because it's a large ecosystem, people take their key and put it in one app. They put it in a second app, third app, a fourth app. And that's probably not the best practice to always be going and putting your key in all these different apps, right? The more times that you put something out there, the better chance you have for something bad to happen, for it to leak, to be stolen, whatever. Because we're told to keep our private key safe, but then we're also told, hey, try out this other app.
I read about an app that had a problem and leaked all the private keys. So that has happened.
Back in December of 2022,
the
there was an app called Enigma. It was kind of like Telegram on Nostr. That it was a web app, and they had an incident where essentially private keys may have been leaked. Like there was a chance that they all could have been leaked. Anybody that was signed in at the time and using the app could have had their key leaked. And then immediately people thought, okay, we need to come up with better ways to secure people's private keys. We need to use extensions and key signers and key managers and all this other stuff. And we do today, but not every application supports every method of like key management, every method of key security. And that creates a little bit of confusion. For example, you mentioned Damus. Like right now, Damus is your key manager, but only for Damus.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to use
Iris,
another,
you have to copy paste.
You have to copy and paste it into Iris. Now, in the future, Will has said that Damus in the future would be your key manager. You wouldn't have to copy and paste your key into Iris. You would open up Iris and Damus might pop up and say, hey, this app is trying to use your key. Do you want to sign it? Yes or no? We don't have that experience yet. Because right now, if you wanted to use web apps on your iPhone, you have to install an extension called Nostr. And then you have to have that extension be supported by the web app that you're trying to use. And if I'm on Android, it gets even more complicated. I can't use that. I have to use another app called Amber. But maybe that the website I'm trying to use doesn't support Amber. And there's too many ways. We have multiple ways of securing people's keys, which is great, but it complicates things because then applications need to figure out, do they want to support a bunker? Do they want to support Amber? Do they want to support NSEC, which they probably don't? Do they want to support an extension? Like there's so many different ways, and which is good to have user choice, but it kind of confuses and makes managing your key harder than it should be. And we want to make things as easy as they can be and maintain security. So it's a tough balance. Like we need to be secure, but also be easy, and finding that balance. And everybody has a different, way of wanting to do it. That's the decentralized way, right? There's no central authority saying this is how you have to do it. Like everybody can have their own way, which is a blessing, and it's also a curse too, because now we have so many different ways of doing it. That gets back to the whole thing is it's getting easier. We're going to get real complicated, and then the best methods will be figured out. They'll be surfaced, and then we'll deviate towards those, and hopefully everyone will support them.
Yeah. So what does it mean to truly own your own identity?
So I think I know this is a new concept. You've never been able to do this throughout the history of social media. For the past 2 decades, you sign in with your username or password to whatever, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, and that identity, your name, your content isn't really owned by you. No one reads the end user license agreements, but it basically says that these entities can do whatever they want to with your photos and your content, and you're essentially just letting them have it, and you're signing in and unlocking your access to it, even though it's your content. And in theory, they could post content using your username, and you would never really know that. You wouldn't know that they were doing it. There's no way to verify that you actually posted that content. Everybody assumes if it came from your account, you posted it. So you don't really own that identity. It's a username and password. It's very different from Nostr's concept of owning your identity. Well, on Nostr, you have this private key that we keep talking about. And your private key unlocks access to your public key. And that public key is your identity that you truly own, or anybody that has access to your private key truly owns. That's why you got to keep it safe. But you can take this identity and you can port it around, and you can put it into all the different Nostr applications that exist. You can't do that in legacy social media. I can't take my Twitter account and port it over to YouTube or Instagram, and all of my content or all of my follows, my entire social graph doesn't come with me. These are silos that don't communicate or play well with one another. They have platform lock-in, And that's by design. They want to keep you on their platform, so you continue viewing advertisements, clicking advertisements, generating them money. Whereas with Nostr, there is no platform lock-in. It's by design, because you can take your identity that you own and you can take it and port it into every single Nostr app that you want to. And everything comes with you, your contacts, your follows, your user profile, like metadata, like everything. And that's just a really entirely new concept compared to what we have in the legacy social media world. Like that's very powerful. A lot of people like that idea. And I think we need to explain to people like really how powerful that is, that you don't have to go and maintain different profiles, and nobody can take your profile away from you. Like, since you own your identity on Nostr, you can't be banned. But on YouTube, you could post a YouTube video and you could be banned. And all that time and money and effort, maybe years you spent building your profile, YouTube, Google, they take it away from you. On Nostr, nobody can take it away from you. You truly own it.
Yeah. Just an anecdote. We launched at the end of January, and by March, our account on X was suspended.
So you know.
And you feel helpless and nauseous, because there it goes, all the content you created, and you don't know why. Then I think when it happens to you, then is when you get it.
Yeah.
When you get like, on Nostr, I cannot have this problem.
Absolutely. It can't happen. And if it would happen, let's say if whatever Nostr app, we keep talking about Damus probably won't do this. But yeah. For example, if Damus decided, I don't like you and I'm going to ban you, that sucks, but okay, I'll take my profile, my NSEC, I'll pop it into another app, to Primal, for example, and I'll sign in, and there you go. All my stuff is with me. And then if Primal says, hey, I don't like you, I'm going to ban you, that sucks. Okay, I'll take my key and I'll pop it into Iris. There's dozens of other apps. And even if all of the apps for some reason ban you, you can run your own app on your own home computer that's installed and running on your home computer or home server. You can run your own. Like, if Twitter bans me, I can't run my own Twitter off of my home computer or home server. I'm banned. Where Nostr, you have that opportunity. It's really hard. Like, you can't ban somebody. You could play a game of whack-a-mole, and relays could ban you and clients can ban you, but you can jump around and port your whole entire social graph and all your content. You own it, so you can take it with you. You can't really effectively ban somebody.
What does censorship feel like? Not just in theory, but in your body.
So, as far as I can tell, I've never been censored. Maybe I have. I don't know. Okay. I'm sure someone's like, oh, I don't like that guy, and they're going to mute me or whatever. But I think that censorship is hard to understand if it's never happened to you. This is one of the things that I've learned over the years, that just because it doesn't happen to me or hasn't happened to me or hasn't happened to a friend or family member doesn't mean that it's not important, right? Like, I need to look outside my social circles and look outside my purview and realize that there's people all over the world that get censored for just having different opinions or thoughts, or saying the wrong word, or someone's interpretation of the wrong word, or over-aggressive algorithms banning people for no reason. I think we live in like a censorship society. Like, you can literally see it getting worse. And this took me a while to realize, but it doesn't matter what I say. And if I say, I'm not doing anything wrong to be censored, I'm not saying anything or doing anything or posting anything that's going to get me censored, it doesn't matter what I say. It matters what other people's interpretation of that is. So I could think today that I'm sitting here saying that censorship is bad. And right now, that's maybe fine. But maybe a year from now, somebody watches or listens to this podcast and says, they're talking about censorship. We need to censor that guy for mentioning censorship. Today, it's okay. But 2 years from now, who knows? Maybe that's bad. And now I'm censored everywhere and blocked and banned everywhere because originally said 2 years ago that censorship was bad, and that could happen. It's other people's interpretation, and I think that once we realize that it's not your interpretation, it's someone else's interpretation, people that are controlling the platform that have the capability to censor, it's on them, that you don't know what they're going to think. It's up to their opinion and up to their action. And because they can do it, they're going to do it. We see this happening every day now. And I think that that's why I like Nostr, is that maybe I don't have anything that's been censored, but I understand that every day all over the world, there's entire groups of people that are censored and that they need Nostr. And that's kind of like what makes me bullish on Nostr, is that this can exist for them. People, like, I don't remember the number. I don't work for HRF, but they know the exact number of how many % of people in the world live under oppressive regimes. And it's some number, like some insanely high number. And those people need Nostr more than I do. Everybody can use Nostr.
We are talking about the free world, which I know it doesn't exist. But let's say that we live in the free world. I mentioned X.
Yeah.
We got suspended in March. By June or the beginning of July, we were already shadow banned with another episode. I mean, YouTube has shadow banned us. It's just...
Are we going to get shadow banned now for talking about censorship?
I personally, I think so.
I hope not. I'm sorry.
I think so. But I was recently talking to Ben Perrin for BTC Sessions.
Yes.
And he was...
That was recent.
Yes. He was banned by YouTube. And
he had a large, successful channel for years.
9 years of content and like 300,000 followers, I think, more or less, or maybe even 400,000.
Yeah. Very successful.
Very successful. He got unfairly banned, and he was rightly reinstated because of his following and the public support. But in my case, for example, we go unnoticed because we just launched and we don't have that many followers. It makes me think of the amount of people that have been censored and the amount of people that have been suspended, that just been silenced through our legacy platforms. And that's not happening in China. I mean, it's happening in China as well as it is happening here.
Yeah. We think of when, the average person hears like censorship or something, they think about like China and like the Great Firewall of China, how the Chinese people can't search for certain things on the internet or even access certain things on the internet. And they don't realize that it's literally happening elsewhere in the world. Like it's literally happening in like the UK right now. It's wild to watch it happen. Like it's surprising, right? Like it's moving very fast. I think Gigi said this recently, and I have similar thoughts on it too, is that the internet is like diverging in two separate ways. We have like the KYC, permissioned, censored internet over here, and then we have this small divergent, like open and free, permissionless internet that's starting to emerge and gain traction. And that's probably going to, the split, the divide is probably going to continue for a while as, big tech companies and governments continue to do their thing, and then we'll have the resistance going the open and permissionless route over here, and that's a selling point for Nostr and for Bitcoin. So as long as they keep marketing for us, we're going to keep building, right? Like,
yeah. Are you building something or defending something right now?
So I got into vibe coding a few months ago.
Okay.
And vibe coding is essentially using AI to build. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't need to be a developer. You don't need to be a programmer. You just need to have an idea, and you can build something from idea to prototype incredibly quickly. And I fell in love with it because I'm not a developer. So if you're a technical person, you'll know that I'm a systems administrator. I do very little actual development. I do a lot of technical stuff, but I'm not going to develop a full-blown application. I'm just not going to. I'll maybe do bits and pieces of it. But people that are not technical look at that and say, oh, well, Derek's a developer. Well, I mean, not really, but okay, sure. But now with vibe coding, I can literally be a developer. I've made so many apps and tools over the past 4 months. And I love it. Like I'm making tools that I've always wanted, apps I've always wanted, or maybe an existing app exists, but I wish it had a few extra features, a few bells and whistles. I can make my own application and I use it. And every single app that I've made, it's literally been an app that I want to use. And some of them have actually seen some user traction. A lot of people are using them. And then others, there's only maybe a couple. Maybe I'm the only one that uses my music app. I don't know. But I wanted it to exist and now it does. So I've built many different apps. I'm using a tool from a company called Soapbox. It's actually a full disclosure. I am now doing developer relations for Soapbox. Like I'm essentially a paid shill. I like to say. I like to joke. They're paying me to do developer relations. It's what I've always done with Nostr.
PR?
Yeah.
PR is
Yeah.
what you mean? Okay.
Yeah. So I do that like a little bit. Developer relations is like it's a lot. It's like a little bit of PR. It's a little bit of marketing. It's a little bit of onboarding. A little bit of community management, community growth, all rolled into this one role. So I talk to the developers, I talk to the team, I talk to the community, I do all this stuff. So they're paying me part-time now to do this. Maybe this turns into the full-time gig later on. We don't know. But right now, so I'm using a tool from them, this company, to vibe code, to develop apps, and to turn my ideas into applications. And because I'm doing it, I think it's so cool. I'm telling other people, you can do this too. So real quick, I made an Instagram type app called Zappix, like Zap Pix, because we didn't have one that worked on Nostr. Like there was an app called Olas by Pablo. It was great, but Pablo likes to jump around from idea to idea a lot. And I felt that Olas was kind of abandoned for now, at least. And I would like the idea. So I made my own. I made a Zap analytics website so if you're a creator and you get a lot of zaps, maybe you want to figure out what piece of content is doing really well for you in terms of like zaps. So I made a Nostr analytics app. I made a Nostr music app that had a couple extra features. I made an Eventbrite meetup type app called Plectos for scheduling Nostr events, meetups. It's essentially Eventbrite, but built on Nostr. And a couple other apps here and there, a podcast app, just things that I wanted to build to use myself. So I'm building all sorts of stuff now thanks to Nostr and AI.
So did you get the job before playing with the tool?
Yeah, I found the tool and I started playing with it. And if you know me, if I'm passionate about something, I'm going to talk about it because I like to talk about my passions. I like to educate people with technology. That's pretty much my whole thing. It's been my whole thing, like my whole entire career. So I started using this new tool and started making things. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. Other people need to know how to do this. So I started talking about what I was doing. And then Alex Gleason from Soapbox, he approached me. He's like, hey, we should talk. And essentially it was, we like all the stuff that you do. Do you want to continue doing it, but also focus instead of like the wide scope of all of Nostr, also talk about our stuff a little bit and we could pay you to talk about our stuff. And I said, oh, that's a thing? I can do that? Like, I didn't realize that. Okay, let me figure out what developer relations means. And I researched it and I was like, oh, I've been doing this for 2.5 years, but I haven't been getting paid for it. So you're going to pay me for what I've already been doing? Oh my God, that's a dream come true. This is maybe like earlier you asked about like, what's something that I maybe want to do and don't really know about me. And I said, well, maybe someday I'd like to leave my fiat job and do Bitcoin and Nostr only. So I don't know what the future holds, but this is a step in that direction. We'll see if that happens. I don't know, but I'm super happy to be able to get paid for something that I love to do. So I'm embracing it. I'm talking about it. I love it. The team is a great team, great people, and it's allowing me to continue my work.
What scares you more, being misunderstood or being ignored?
I would, we're going to get back to what I said in like one of the very first questions. I would say being misunderstood. I like to say that I don't care what people think about me, and that's generally true. However, I don't want people to have a misconception about what I'm doing and the whole like joke of like the Nostr CEO thing. Like I don't want to be seen as some clout seeker or some like influencer trying to make their mark or something like that. That's literally not me. I literally hate those types of people. And that's a fear. Like that's a fear as I kind of get more well known in the Nostr space. I don't want people to think badly or ill of me. And I like to say, like, I don't care what people think. I'm going to continue doing it, but I'm a human. I don't want people, like, especially if I'm trying to do good and people have a bad, misconception of me. Being misunderstood, I would say, is definitely a fear in the back of my mind.
When do you let things slide and when do you push back?
I'll say it depends. If someone is critical or says something that I don't agree with or critical of me or critical of something I support, has a question, I'll respond once or twice. But then after that, I realize that I'm not going to change their opinion and that's fine. Like I'll move on. Like I'm here doing my thing. I'm trying to do my thing. And if I'm not able to convince them or change their opinion right away, then that's fine. I'm not here to do that. I'll continue on doing my work and pushing forward. And if I change their opinion in the future, that's cool. And if I don't, that's cool too. Like I have more important things to do.
And when do you push back?
When do I push back? I guess if someone is really critical about something I feel really passionate about, like it.
Give me examples.
Okay, I'll use a personal example here. Family is extremely important to me. I love my family more than anything, and sometimes I have 3 sisters. I love them all dearly and would do anything for any of them. But me being the older brother, sometimes I have a sister that we don't always see eye to eye. We don't always agree on, and sometimes I try to be very helpful, and sometimes I guess my helpfulness isn't seen the way that I would think that it is. And my one sister and I have butted heads numerous times, to the point where like she was very, very angry with me and we didn't talk for a very long time. And I tried to reach out a few times and realized it just wasn't getting anywhere. I let it go for a while and tried not to let it bother me. And eventually, we're now closer and things worked out. But there for, I would say, the better part of a year or more, like we didn't really talk. And I said that was, again, as a older brother, it was hard. But I let it go for a little bit, but then I kept continuing to reach out, just trying to, reconcile the relationship, because I love my sister. I wanted to, I wanted to make sure that I was in my niece's lives at the time, and now she has a little boy, so in my nephew's life and everything. So I worked really hard to foster that relationship, to let her know that my intentions were good. I'm sorry if they were misunderstood. Like I was legitimately trying to help her out, trying to reconcile the relationship. And after a while, a year or so, we did. I think that the pushback is, that it's hard. It was hard for me because I legitimately was trying to do good and I was seen as was doing bad, and I didn't want to be misunderstood. So I was constantly, reaching out to her for a while, trying to save the relationship, I guess.
Yeah.
But we're good now. We're
blood complicated.
Yeah. Family's complicated.
Yeah, blood is really complicated.
Yeah.
What's something you believe that gets you into trouble?
We're gonna go back to my one sister who I absolutely love more than anything, but her and we're very politically different. And that's one of those things, like, right, like you grow up your whole life, you're told you don't discuss politics with family. Well, damn it, sometimes we did. And getting into trouble with her talking about politics every single time. There's no way around it. She's very, very passionate with her politics. I love her more than anything, but I can't comment, because if I do, I'm the asshole, and it will never not be seen like that. So I don't normally bite my tongue.
Yeah.
But every time, if she were to say something, and she carries her, politics very close to heart, and if I were to say anything, I would, no matter what, I'm immediately wrong and I'm the asshole. So I bite my tongue. I realized that was something that we can never talk about, and that's fine. That's fine. We'll talk about other stuff that we have in common. And since then, our relationship's gotten much better since we don't talk about those things.
Yeah. I don't know what's with family that you go from 0 to 100 in just a few seconds.
Oh my God, we do. It's literally 0 to 100. And I like turn around and look at my other family members. I'm like, what just happened? and then my parents see me as the asshole. I'm the older brother that picked a fight with my younger sister, and I'm like, I didn't do anything.
Well, in a way you did, because experience, what's going to happen.
Whose side are you on here? Like, I know what would happen if I made a comment. So that's why I don't talk anymore. If something political comes up, I don't pay attention, because I would rather us not fight and go from 0 to 100, like you said. It's much easier to just talk about something else.
Maybe that's why I started this podcast, because my main reason is because I really want to learn. By having these conversations with you and all my guests, I really learn. But because I have in these conversations with you, I don't really need to have them with my family anymore.
Yeah, that's kind of what I realized. Is it right? Like, as long as you have somebody to talk to and you can be open and talk about things, and people aren't going to fly off the handle and be enraged at you for just having an opinion, then that's fine. If you can't do it with your born in blood family, you can do it with your found family, right? Like, you can do it with others.
Yeah. What's one idea you changed your mind about since you started building in public?
Oh, this will be a good one. Whenever the COVID lockdown started happening, smaller restrictions, I was fine with. I was like, if that's what we need to do to stop, to save some lives, I don't mind doing a few things. No big deal. But then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And in the beginning, like, I was all for it. But then as things got worse and escalated over time, it really started making me think. And my opinion on that over the years has now gone 180 degrees. Like, in the beginning, like I said, I was like, whatever. If we need to do that, like, sure. No big deal. It's not going to hurt me in the grand scheme of things. I don't care. But then, it gets worse and worse, and more lockdowns, more restrictions, more changes, more regulations, more rules. And I started looking at that, and it really changed my perception on a lot of stuff. So I've changed my thoughts on the whole COVID lockdowns over the past 5 years. Like, 2020 and 2021, maybe, Derek, very different than 22, 23, 24, 25, Derek. Like, it took a little bit of time, but I changed my thoughts on that.
Tell me about a time you felt like you said too much. Apart from when you are with your sister.
Apart from that, oh man, maybe just right now. Maybe I just, since I was originally, I wouldn't say a fan, but I was okay with the original, the initial, like, COVID restrictions. Maybe I said too much right there. Maybe people are going to watch this, like, oh, Derek was a COVID whatever. He was all for it. But in the beginning, sure. But once things got worse, I would say probably for a lot of things. Like, I'm a very opinionated guy. I have various opinions on a lot of things, and in the beginning of stages, until you have a lot of more knowledge about something, like, I could be right and wrong about everything, and that's fine. I'm perfectly happy to have one thought on something, and then as time goes on, you learn more and more information becomes available. You learn more, and then you change your opinion. That's literally how humans work.
Yeah.
And some people don't like that. Some people don't like that you change your mind, and that's weird. We should be able to change our minds and have opinions as more information becomes available. So I'm sure that me saying those things, I'm sure is going to piss off a small subset of people. That's just, they don't believe that, people are allowed to change.
Wow. Yeah. You need to change.
But
it's the only way to evolve.
Yeah, but people don't like that. People don't like that people evolve and change. And it's weird. Like, why can't I do that? Why can't I grow? Maybe I thought one way at one point, and now because I'm thinking differently, like that's bad. And
I also think that it's really, really, really easy to tell the story backwards. Now to say that I was against it from the very, very beginning. I was more on your side. You take a little bit of shit, a little bit more, and then it gets to a point that say, no, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I need to rethink all this.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. It was like, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. Okay. Now I'm thinking about it a little bit more. Like, yeah, you change over time, you adapt. But I think, the majority of people are that way.
Yeah. A moment you felt proud and alone at the same time.
Proud and alone. Well, as soon as you start saying proud, I was like, oh man, I'm going to talk about my son because I love being a dad. But then you said and alone, and I'm like, okay, I don't know if I don't know.
No, you can't.
I can't do that. No, that didn't work. In the beginning, I was like, this is going to be a fun question. But then proud and alone.
Hey, it's a fine question.
Yeah, but I don't know how proud and alone.
Proud and alone. In my case, when I launched All in Bitcoin, the podcast, I was so proud. I really, from so many years, I wanted to be here. And then I was really alone also, in the sense that, no one knew the podcast. Oh, but of course, my first episode was with Adam Back and Peter Todd.
That's amazing.
Complaining. I'm not complaining at all.
I was actually proud for you whenever I saw that Adam Back was your first podcast interview. Really, I was like, oh my God, she got Adam Back. That's amazing. Like I was proud for you.
Thank you.
I'm going to say that a lot of what I've been doing the past 2.5 years, going around and speaking at conferences and having large audiences and having people come up to me and that respect me and listen to what I say and care what I have to say. That makes me feel very proud of myself that I'm able to do this. And I don't think a lot of people outside of like our like social bubble understand that. Like my parents don't. I don't think my wife does, but I don't know if any of my friends really get it. Like, is my family, are they proud of me for doing what I'm doing? I don't really think so. And I've thought that. My friends, they ask sometimes about, hey, where are you going? And they care enough to ask, but are they like proud that who I was on stage with or who I gave a talk to and changing people's lives? They probably care because they're my friends and they're compassionate people. But I don't know if they truly understand the impact and if they're, proud to say that, hey, Derek's my friend, I'm proud to know him, or if my mom, my father and my mother, like if they're proud of the work that I'm doing, like they don't tell me, like, so I don't know. Sometimes I do. I tell my family members, where I'm going and speaking and stuff, and they're just like, oh, cool. But like, deep down, I want them to, I'm 45 years old. I still want my parents to be proud of me. I want my parents to tell me good job and they're proud of the work that I'm doing. And I don't know when the last time they told me that, I'm sure they are, but they don't tell me.
Yeah. My mother asked me, why are you doing this? She knows I'm not getting paid for it. So
it's like, why are you doing this?
Why are you doing it? It's like to learn. I really like the people I'm talking to and what they say. That much effort.
Yeah.
Like you can learn online.
I think that's why, I want, not that I want, but it would be nice if somebody understood the effort and understood the time and effort and that you're putting into this, and that it matters. And it would be nice to have I don't need the validation, but it's nice to have. Yeah.
So if you had to vanish from all platforms, what would you leave behind?
I guess, all of my notes are going to be there on all relays. They'll be there until those relays shut off or those relay operators delete my notes. So they'll be there. My guides that I've written for Nostr, my blog post articles, my media, like my digital footprint is pretty large. It will live on Nostr until all the clients and all the relays disappear. But I'd have to come back. Maybe I'd come back as a NIM, right? Like I couldn't disappear forever. I have too many friends and close. They're essentially family. They're my Nostr family. They're people that I see and embrace and hug and I love. This is a good story. I'm going to marry 2 of my friends. Like I'm an ordained minister now. That's wild.
All right.
Yeah. There's 2 Nostr friends.
Yeah.
They met on Nostr. I introduced them to each other. They got engaged last year at Nostriga. And at a conference a month ago, they said to me, Derek, long story short, they told me why, but they said, long story short, will you get ordained and marry us? And I was like, that is something I've never thought in my life I would do, but I love you too. And if you legitimately want me to oversee your wedding and marry you, I will do that. And I went, it's just a website. You go fill out a form, but I went and filled out a form and I have my piece of paper. I'm an ordained minister now, like rock star. So I can marry people now. And I'm going to marry my 2 friends because they had life situations happen that they have to push their wedding up a lot sooner. And they're unable to get, a minister to marry them, in a timely manner. So they asked me to do it and I was honored and I'm going to do it. So anyways, I love Nostr so much that if I had to vanish for whatever reason, I'd come back as a NIM because I have people that are my friends and they're my family that I couldn't abandon. I couldn't leave them. They're a big part of my life.
I remember that girl. She was on a stage last year in Riga.
Mallory.
Why did you introduce them?
I have an app called Nostr Nests. It's for audio conversations like Twitter Spaces or Clubhouse. Mm-hmm. And, 2 years ago, we were all on Nests every night, just talking about life, talking about Nostr, whatever. And there was a girl that used to get on there, Mallory, and she became a friend and I talked to her. I had a friend, Island, and Island was in Costa Rica. I met him in person. He was a good friend. And, one day I was like, hey, hey, friend 1, here's friend 2, let's all be friends and let's all talk. And, they started talking and one thing led to another. And then they got engaged at a Nostr conference and it's beautiful. So yeah, it's beautiful to see that happen. Yeah. I'm happy I'm happy that Nostr was able to do that for them. Like they were able to meet through Nostr. They wouldn't have met otherwise.
And if I remember correctly, she didn't feel comfortable on Nostr. She was harassed.
The panel that we were on at Nostriga was about harassment, and she was talking about that. Maybe herself or some other women were dealt with some harassment. So the panel was kind of, how do we deal with that in a decentralized way? And I don't know if there's really a good answer for that, but it's. The easy answer is web of trust in your community, and we kind of we build our webs of trust, we build our community, and we police each other inside our community, really, and mute, block, and move on. Like that's all we can do.
Like in real life.
Yeah. If I don't want to talk to you in real life, I'll turn around and walk away.
Yeah, that's what
that's the digital version. Mute, block, walk away.
Yeah. When was the last time you felt free?
I think I feel free every day. Like I'm able to do what I want to do. I love to build on freedom technology, Nostr and Bitcoin. And 2.5 years ago, I wasn't really able to do that. And I think that I've been living my best life for the past 2.5 years. Like I'm so incredibly happy that I get to do this, that I've traveled more in the past 2.5 years than I did the previous 40. And Nostr and Bitcoin has enabled all of this. I really feel like I'm free and living my best life. I love my wife and my children more than anything, and I'm able to travel and sometimes bring them with me, and just I feel truly free that I can do and say and build and create whatever I want. Like it's beautiful, really. It is. I'm very happy that Nostr and Bitcoin exist.
Great. Thanks for sharing, Derek.
Thank you.
Those were my 21 takes on you.
Well, I hope they were good takes.
Yes. Thanks for your time, this
Thank
generous conversation, and everything you are doing to keep voices free. Where can people follow you and your work?
Well, you can't follow me anywhere else but Nostr. I deleted them all, I said. So you can follow me on Nostr. I'm Derek Ross at grownostre.org. That is my Nostr address. You can also check out Grow Nostr at grownostre.org, and then you can follow all of the things that I'm saying and doing and building, and all the developer relations stuff that I'm doing with Soapbox by checking out Soapbox as well.
Can't wait to have you back. Until then, stay sovereign.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. It was a great conversation.